I'm a big girl too. All my snakes are big. I've had people ask me if I feed them Miracle Grow. No, I don't feed them Miracle Grow. They just get a lot of exercise because I bring them outdoors all spring and all summer. So, and they got their own swimming pool outside. So they get a lot of exercise. I've got a terrible head cold. I figured the sun would help my cold. And in the process, it'll prompt these guys into starting not back on food again. This Ginger and Tipper haven't accepted food yet since winter. Can't say I blame them though, because their weather's been so crazy. Where's your tongue going? I see your tongue going. Show people how big you are, how pretty you are. Yep, and there, of course. Great, I gotta dig out my tissue and blow my nose again. Hey, Sunshine, huh? Yeah, you're going in reverse, Ginger. What's up with that? Why are you going backwards? Yeah, she's getting ready to shed. Her eyes are slightly blued. My snakes don't have a problem with being handled and worked with when they're shedding. I've never had an issue with that. I assist with their sheds usually. They don't mind. I don't know where everybody gets the idea that they're really mean and defensive and bite you if they're shedding and you get near them, because it's really, it's just not true. Well, I guess it depends on the quality of time you invest with each of your snakes too, but I haven't got a one that'll snap at you when they're shedding. What do you smell? What you tasting? This is Tipper, the one that was a rescue. He's about due to go back on food. They lose a little bit of weight in the winter because they don't eat. They refuse food all winter for the most part for about 4 or 5 months, but they put it back on really quick. So, yeah, it's about time to start eating again. Yep. That's why I'm bringing them back out, to let them get in the sun, so it'll prompt them to start eating again, because if they think the seasons are changing, then they'll go back on food. And they're used to it being so cold around here and unpredictable lately. I figured the sunshine would prompt them to want to go back on food. They'll think it's that time of the year again, so it's time to eat. What'd you find? Huh? What'd you find? That's like I tell everybody, you gotta learn to think like a snake. Snake logic. They have a reason for what they do, but it's based on the environment, the time of the year, the weather changes, barometric pressure, everything they do is based on something that's going on around them in their environment. So you have to kind of learn to read between the lines so you know what they need and what they want and what changes need to take place. Like I said, that's why they're out in the sun, trying to prompt them to go back on food. Come here. Come here, Goofy. There's a goofy snake. I'm a goofy snake. You gonna hide behind my knee? Oh, you guys, you're something. Guess I'm supposed to protect you, I reckon. All my snakes are like this. They're lap snakes. You don't need that. You don't need that. No, you don't need the top. That's to your toe. Enjoy yourself. It's nice out. There you go. Now we're up and moving. Yeah, Sonny will be probably around 3 years old the end of this year. She's young. She's a young girl. So, yep, I'm young. That's pretty neat. Pretty warm, huh? Yeah. You checking everything out? 75 today. Amazing. She's a real pretty pastel. Actually, she's a lemon pastel. Good size girl. Where are you going? Off we go. A lot of people don't really care for the normal ball pythons. I really think they're awesome. And a lot of people need to consider that they deserve all the credit for the new designer morphs, because without the normals there wouldn't be any. They would all be normals. So, you know, you gotta really appreciate these guys just for being normals, because without them there would be no new designer morphs or high-end morphs. All those beautiful pretty colors and patterns, they wouldn't exist without the normals. So that's why I think I've always cared for them the most, because they're the base of all genetics. But yeah, without them you wouldn't have all those cute pastels and those cute other color morphs of ball pythons without the normals. You're moving fast today. What's up with that? Usually you just poke along. I love his stripe on the top of his spine, down by his tail. It's really cool. Where you going, Tipper? Oh. Moving along pretty fast there, youngin'. Where you off to? Where you off to? Where you going, Sonny? Hey, hey, come back here. Me and my lap snakes, I'm telling you. Ginger is the first snake I had that bonded with my cat Deeper, and that was almost 13 years ago. And they've always got along great. They have no issues with each other. Snakes aren't crazy about her when she gets in one of her nurturing moods and wants to give them a bath. They don't like her scratchy tongue, but Ginger's getting ready to shed. She's got some scales breaking loose on her neck, and she's getting the bluish eyes. Is your belly pink? Catch on your belly? Yeah, we're starting to get that pinkish tint to the belly. I'm sorry. See, put my butt down, Mom. I'm on my mama's lap. You're weird. And I've got a killer head cold. I get one every year when the weather goes from cold to warm and warm to cold. So you don't have to hide on me. Nothing out here is going to hurt you. Oh my goodness. Don't come back with me. Nope. You gonna hide? I don't know what you think you're hiding from. I won't let the birds get you. There we go. We got some action going on. And you come back on my lap again. And she's getting ready to shed. Probably be within a week or two. But I brought them all out today, because the ones that haven't eaten during the winter, I'm trying to get the weather, the heat and the temperature to prompt them to go back on food. You got some loose scales around your neck. Oh, you got pretty blue eyes today. Look at you. Yeah, she's getting ready to shed. On my lap as usual. But yeah. Won't be long. She's got some loose scales on her neck and around her head. So it won't be long. I'll be shedding. But I'm hoping the sun will prompt them to start eating. Get back on some food. You're just such a lap snake. All my snakes are. You insecure without me or what? You guys are terrible. Well, you always got to be on me. I guess it's alright. Don't have to worry about them taking off and going anywhere. She has some really unique colors though. They don't look right out here in the sun because she's getting ready to shed, but this right here is usually like a silver copper color. Almost a brassy color. She has a real pretty reduced pattern. She's got one stripe on her upper back too, like Tipper has toward his tail. I just love the normals. I don't care what people say about them. They're magnificent snakes. Look at you, Tubby. You didn't eat all winter and you're still chubby. What's up with that? So yep, I'm still a big girl even though I didn't eat this winter. The thing is, I know they're gonna go off food usually around October, so I feed them like double meals in September. Sometimes they'll eat the beginning of October and then they'll go off toward the end of October, so I double up on their meals right before they go into winter time when they go off food, hibernation. So I give them a double meal right up until they go off food, so that way I don't lose any weight during the winter. I've never had my snakes lose any more than an ounce or two during the winter, so you know, that's sometimes 6 months without food, and it doesn't faze them. I tell people all the time, your snakes will store nutrients. You take my big constrictors, the ones that are 11 feet, you could let them go without food for a year and they'd be perfectly healthy and they'd never lose an ounce. Snakes store their nutrients. That's why it's important to have a lot of calcium in them for bone and for their skin health and everything else, because calcium in the feeders is what they depend on to sustain good health. Well, then you taking proper care of them. You just can't get off me, can you? What are you never... Lap snakes, what can I say? Yes, you are. You're spoiled rotten. Yeah, vicious animals. Yeah, she's real pretty though. But Ginger's the first one that bonded with my cat. And ever since then, all the rest of them have too. But like I said, they don't like my cat's scratchy tongue. They don't strike out at her or anything when she tries to wash them. The most they do is just back away from her and avoid her. But they really have no issues with her, except for her tongue. When she gets motherly and wants to nurture them, they get a little upset with her. But other than that, they get along great. I've never had one of my snakes strike at my cat. And anytime they get on the cat, they get around the back of her neck where her fur is the thickest and warmest. And I've never had them try to get around the front of her neck. They're always supervised, naturally, because animals like people have different moods. So, you know, you can't always depend on them acting the same way all the time. I bring all my snakes out in a tote. They relate to it. They know when I take a tote out and I have the lid off of it. They get in it, they come outdoors, so they're used to it. They know what it means. It means they're going outside. You're moving pretty fast. You better stay close to me. The birds will get you. What do you see? Oh, it's a camera. You're so timid. Moving along pretty fast. Where are you going? What are you doing?